right. Okay, welcome you to the Buchanan Community Schools Board of Education meeting. All meetings have been posted on our website, in our central office, and in each district building. Tonight's agenda has been posted on our website and emailed out to the BCS Board of Education community subscription. Our board members receive the agenda and all supporting documents for reports and action items several days prior to the scheduled meeting, so they can review information, prepare questions or comments, and are ready to participate fully in the discussions and votes that encompass the duties of their office. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. The Buchanan Community School Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters as indicated during the public comment portion of the agenda. Please fill out a comment card to ensure your responses are appropriately addressed. Thank you for your support of Buchanan Community Schools. And we will go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for
all. Okay, we can go ahead and have a roll call.
Did we say he's not here, right? Mr. Carlson's absent. Ms. Brackett?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Lesh here. Dr. Carlin?
Here.
Dr. Burnett?
Here.
Ms. Berry?
Here. And next, adoption of our agenda.
I move that the agenda for the regular board meeting of May 19th, 2025 be adopted as written.
Support.
Any questions? Go ahead. Roll call.
Ms. Brackett?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Dr. Burnett?
Yes.
Ms. Berry?
Yes. And thank you to the visitors. We have several staff members here. And then next are points of pride.
So, I was like, I have to go from one to the other. I'm sorry. So every month we do the Buck Staff Appreciation, and this month's nominees were Patricia Hosmer, Buchanan Community School Custodian Substitute, Amanda Leemler, Ottawa Moccasin Media Teacher, Brandy Wesner, Ottawa Paraprofessional, Sandra Miller, Buchanan High School Art Teacher, Anna Smith, Administrative Assistant to the Assistant Principal, Athletics and Pupil Accounting, Melissa Prestine, Ottawa and Moccasin Music Teacher, Kristen Shaner, GSRP Teacher, Jennifer Templeton, Administrative Assistant to Transportation, and April Hawk, Moccasin Mental Health Liaison. And I will read. The winner for May was April Hawk. And I will read what was submitted. April Hawk exemplifies the heart of our community through her work at Moccasin Elementary. She is empathetic, kind, and constant source of encouragement for both students and staff. I could not imagine our building without April. She's so supportive. She's not only a steady guide for our students, but also a cheerleader for the building as a whole. On behalf of the Board of Education and Administration of Buchanan Community Schools, we thank you for your service and encourage you to keep up the great level of achievement and service to our district. Congratulations, April Hawk. She's not, I don't think she's here. Make sure you go to the superintendent's office to claim your prize.
All right, and then we have the end of year celebration information.
Yes, so in your packets, there is a flyer handout that highlights our accomplishments for this year from our schools to our departments. And each year we do this because every year we work to at a high level, and we do have successes that help us to and motivate us to move to the next level and to extend those successes. So this year I just like to highlight just a few of them. that are in your packet. So Ottawa, they piloted number corners. I know Stacy talked about that during her session here. Also, Walk to Read, that was implemented as a tier 2 reading support for kindergarten and first grade at Ottawa. Moccasin implemented weekly life skills programs, which help students with social emotional learning. And then also Moccasin, on the 2024 Math and ELA MSTEP, their fourth graders placed in the top 5 of all Berrien County elementary schools. That was something to highlight there. From the middle school, 5 of their middle school band students were selected to participate in the Andrews University Honors Band and spent the day honing their craft with students from all over the county. In addition to that, around 80% of the middle school students met their goals on the NWEA reading and math assessments. High school had its largest number of students in at least the past 20 years take the AP tests this year. So that is something that we are pushing at the high school. Kudos to the high school administration. Also, I know new this year, Buck Pride, PBIS. They also highlighted over 400 Buchanan High School students were recognized for their Buck Pride this year. So they were recognized by teachers, and I know the high school staff put a lot of effort into making sure that was highlighted and shared on social media. A lot of time that takes for staff to do that as well. From the class of 2025, 83 of 109 are graduating with a CTE course under their belt. From the special education department, and we know this takes a team effort from parents to teachers to the special education staff. 410 timely IEPs were held for Buchanan students to date. So a lot of writing goes in there, data collection as well. So there's a lot of time there. Also, between September and May, a total of 36 students have graduated from either BVA or the Step Up program. 9 of those students are planning on participating in the 2025 graduation ceremony. Can't wait for that. 35 athletes from our fall and winter sports teams were named first team All-American. 24 athletes from fall and winter sports were either named on an all-district or all-region team. The other thing I wanted to highlight from our nurse. So I have invited her probably over the summer to do a report to you guys. However, she included that over 45 Buchanan Community School staff members are newly certified in CPR First Aid AED administration. That is really cool. And another highlight I wanted her to, from the first day of school at the end of April, I'm sorry, that's not the one, but there was one more. Every teacher assigned to a dependent diabetic student was trained in diabetes management for a safer classroom. I wanted to highlight that.
That's really good.
Yep. Food service. I know Becky gives you guys this every month in her reports, but from the first day of school to the end of April, the food service department has served over 71,000 free breakfasts and over 154,000 free lunches to our students. From the custodial department or operations department, I'll put that over $380,000 has been used out of sinking funds for capital improvements in the areas of plumbing, lighting, and boiler repairs. Those are things you can't see, but that they take a lot of money to keep those things running. And also another highlight from the operations is the Buchanan High School air conditioning project is in progress and is set to be finished this summer. From the business office, they leveraged alternative revenue streams that proactively identified and utilized non-traditional funding sources to support district initiatives and reduce reliance on our core funding, which is amazing. As you can see, there's lots more that we could go over, but I am extremely grateful to work with a district team, district leaders that are skilled, trained to ensure success in all areas for our district and most importantly for our students and their families. So, thank you. Thank you.
We're gonna have to make a 2-pager eventually.
Mhm.
It's getting tight.
Next, we have our superintendent and department reports.
Those reports are in your packets, and every month, like I said, our leaders, building leaders and department leaders share highlights from the month with you, keeping you abreast and up to date of what is happening in the district.
Lots of good stuff.
Mhm.
Next, we have a presentation. We have a couple of them today. It's Mr. Pruitt's least busy week of school, I think, right? Here to present to.
My eyes don't look glossed over. Sorry, it just hit me a little bit ago. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Thank you for letting me speak here tonight. Is it on? Is it on? Okay, there we go. Tonight I want to focus on 2 areas with my presentation. Just nothing like crazy up there, nothing I gave to Phil, just going to go over some stuff. But I want to focus on 2 areas. One, just going over some of the good stuff from the year, kind of highlight some things that were kind of in what you already saw, but some other things. And then also just kind of a summary of the MTSS tier system that we'd already been doing stuff, but we kind of took it to the next level this year and kind of where we want to go with it. So those are my 2 areas of focus. So I'm just going to go over a list of some things that we did that highlight some of the successes and just cool things that happened this year. Just recently, NHS ran a giving back. Well, first of all, they run tons of giving back service drives throughout the year, service initiatives. But just recently, did a flower fundraiser where they were able to give $350 to the Little Bucks Bookmobile, which if you noticed on social media, the library posted, because that's now with the library, we know. And then Mr. Brown's been working on an auto shop, and we just wanted to help donate money to help them in the repairs and keeping that going. Another big thing that we don't hit on enough, because when we talk about, everybody loves the herd shirts, but sometimes you hear people say, oh, we're always selling shirts. Well, here's why. Student Council and the herd donated to various causes throughout this year for a total of over $5,225. So this impacted families that could use some donations given. This impacted students. This impacted school programs they donated to. This impacted community members. So, when we started this little whole herd initiative years ago and we sold those first shirts, which I don't even remember how many years ago it was, who knew the impact it would have today? So again, just in 1 year, and the year's not even over $5,000 has been donated, given, helped people in this community, and a lot of it comes from just those selling of those shirts that everybody loves. So it's pretty cool, and I want to make sure they're recognized for all they do with that. The ELA department's partnering with the Buchanan District Library, and they've been in the process of like a changeover of our system upstairs, so that way kids will be doing a lot more, not only checking out books here, but with the downtown library, which is leading to our teachers kind of having to reconfigure what we do here, just relabeling, reorganizing. But again, it's something they're willing to do because they know that it's going to lead to kids having more opportunities. So I like that partnership we have now going on with downtown. Mrs. Robinson mentioned AP. We had 26 students take AP exams this year, which is kind of a record number in the past 20 years. And it's spread across 3 different classes that we offer. We actually have one taking it tomorrow because he missed the original date because of a golf match. And so all his classmates wished him good luck because he's the only one left in the building that still has to take an exam, which I think it's our last real exam of the year. We did Mrs. Southwell. She's always thinking. Our our academic intervention, she's always thinking of things to do. And she wanted to start working with attendance this year too, in a positive attendance program. So she wrote a grant down at Gateway, was able to get some money tied into a positive attendance program. We were able to focus on improving attendance, tying it into improving grades. And so hopefully we've noticed the numbers of the kids that have received this positive attendance reward at the end of each week have been students that have been struggling a little bit with attendance and grades, but because of the positive change in their attendance, and then seeing that there was something there, it has helped these kids. And some of these kids were on the failing end of some of their classes, and that has changed since we started this over, I think, 2 months ago. So that's been a really nice thing. As Mrs. Robinson told me today, one of the things mentioned, or maybe it was Mrs. Munyon, mentioned that a lot of the kids in the schools talked about wanting more field trips in the strategic planning. And one thing I will say is even though there's not a lot of money for it, our science department does a ton of field trips. And this year alone, again, field trip to MSU tomorrow for students, the bird sanctuary, the field museum, McCoy Creek, if you see pictures, they're down there all the time. The Senior Center service project. So again, we're getting a lot of opportunities, not just science, but science is the one where we see the most, just opportunities of learning outside of the classroom. We also honors chemistry students. This came specifically from science teachers that they wanted me to share. Our honors chemistry students showed great grit as they completed argument-driven inquiries across 4 key units this year: chemical quantities of water and solutions, behavior in gases and acids and bases. And they just felt like this year with, we hired Mr. Bennett a couple of years ago, and he's been doing an amazing job in the chemistry department. And it's led to this strong engagement from our students in building a strong foundation in chemistry. And we're really excited to see where that continues to grow. And then also in environmental science, which is where a lot of these field trips take place, their environmental literacy, their science practices, their community engagement has been strengthened, and a lot of it is done through this outdoor learning. The prairie habitat, they went to Lions Park, the McCoy Creek Trail, field trips to Grandmere State Park, the Wolf Lake Fish Hatchery, like I mentioned. These are all things where they're out there enriching their understanding in the environmental science world, but they're also tying it into service projects. We did some work up at the Buchanan Area Senior Center, a couple other areas in town, and again, they're focusing on protecting biodiversity, soil, air, wind, and water. And it's kind of become a thing where kids are now saying, can I take environmental science again next year? We don't try to let kids take the same classes over and over, but it's so cool to see so many kids say, take it again. I learned so much, I want to keep going with it. So I just feel like right now our kids are really digging into that, and I really love to see that. But coming from that science department, they also wanted me to send a big thank you to the school staff, the district administration, the school board, maintenance, transportation, food service, everybody, because this has been such a good year for them, and it wouldn't be without everyone's support. 2 last things for positives. Last night, if you were honors convocation, Mr. Rowland said we had over $1.2 million in scholarships given out, but if you add in what the Navy had mentioned, which was over $1 million, and then the other ones that aren't Gateway, we're looking at probably 1.4 million more was given out in scholarships last night. So we're pretty lucky, especially when I talk to people from other communities. Gateway does affect Niles, Buchanan, a little bit of Cass, but outside of that, a lot of communities don't have this. I was talking to someone from another local school that they went to, and other than a couple small scholarships, there's nothing like this. So we're very lucky to live where we live, and our kids, sometimes I don't think realize how lucky they are, seniors especially, to get what they get. So that's very cool to see that last night. And then lastly, with our CTE programs, we're adding 3 new ones next year: education, electrical, and cybersecurity. So we want to continue, as Mr. Fry had mentioned in his points of pride. I mean, we're looking at probably 80% of our kids have taken some form of CTE before they graduate. Sometimes the kids don't even remember it. Like when he's passing out the cords, like, I didn't take a CTE. And they're like, well, you took a business something course your freshman year. You took intro to culinary. Again, just getting those kids those experiences is important, and they can do great things. All right, so that's my first half. Second point is on our tier program. So last year, at the end of the school year, I was talking to Trish and Carrie about some ideas we wanted to do, ways we wanted to maybe shift up what some teachers do to impact kids' learning. And so we tried this new tier 2-3 program that with our MTSS, which again, I'm not going to say we knew going into this what it was going to look like. We knew going into this, like, we're going to have teachers that can help impact kids, and we're going to figure it out as we go, because we had a basic outline and we wanted to go. So I'll kind of read what I say here. We went into this year with a new plan to address the MTSS tiered systems and programs. We had 3 teachers spread out throughout the day who had 1 hour set aside a day for tier time. To start, the basic idea was just let's get the students who are struggling. Teachers are going to identify them. They either need reteaching, they need one-on-one, they need that extra help, and then they're going to be able to go to these specific rooms throughout the day during these hours to get what they needed educationally. This was the let's get it rolling plan, and then we're going to figure it out as we go. And we did, because we knew that we needed to impact these kids, and we knew that it would grow over time, and then we had the staff that could make this work. So here are the ways the program grew throughout the year. It started with teachers recommending students to this tier time for support. So it's basically like teachers would send us recommendations. These kids are struggling, or this or that. We need to get these kids in here so they can get the help they need. And it didn't always work out perfectly. I'm not going to lie. Like, there were times where, teachers would give names, but the time they needed didn't fit the time in the day they had, or, the kid wasn't here, or someone forgot to send them. So there was a lot of hiccups at the beginning, but it was okay because we had to see those things to be able to know what was going to work. And so then it grew from there to a more specified recommendation system. So teachers could recommend a student for tier support through a form that had to be filled out. So then we went to a form. And then lots of detail and information went into this form. And from there, the MTSS team started meeting. So then we would meet at the beginning of the month and we would take these forms, all the forms, bless you, that came from the teachers. And we'd go through each one. And we would go through them. We would discuss why the kid was struggling, why we thought, what needed to be done, what supports they could use, who should go where in the tier system, and all these next steps. So we would meet one week, one day after school at the beginning of the month and go over all these forms. It could be 5 forms, but usually it was more like 30 forms. So we would go through every one and take notes and decide what we think we needed to do. And then probably one of the most important parts that people don't always forget about, and we know this happens a lot. I know Mrs. Money likes to enjoy this part. Mrs. Southwell will then go and compile all the notes together and then send them out to each individual teacher of what we talked about in that meeting and what we were going to do for each individual kid. So that way they knew what we were doing, because we all know if we're in the classroom, we fill out this form, what's really going on with it. So we wanted to make sure that every teacher knew what was going to happen. All right. And then a week or two later, after it had been in place and the kids were in the system and where they needed to go, then the MTSS team would meet again. And then we would kind of reevaluate. Okay, reevaluate how the kids are doing, where their grades are, how the plan has gone, and then that we would discuss what needed to change, and if any changes need to be necessary, any adjustments. And then the next step was we created a document, and we created a Google Doc that had every single teacher. Every teacher had a tab, and once you opened your tab, it had every hour, and then every kid that was in the tier system, it showed where they should go during that hour if they needed help. So what we really tried to do is we tried to make it as user-friendly as we could for teachers. So they could just leave their tab open on their desktop. They would know, okay, first hour, I know Bob goes to, Mrs. Frost's class, or Mr. D's class. I know third hour, they go to Mrs. Frost's class. I know sixth hour, Jim goes to Mrs. Neal's class. So that way so they didn't even have to think about sending kids anywhere. They could just leave the tab up and they knew, okay, this is where the kid needs to go. So in the end, the process that we have, it ended the year with 3 times throughout the day. We would meet twice a month to go through recommendations and review the system, and the ever-changing tier document to make it easier for teachers to know kind of who needed to be where and when. So that's kind of what it all grew into. It's not perfect, but as the year went on, we felt better about ourselves because we knew that kids were getting help academically, and we knew that it was working. We knew that we took a system that we went in saying it's not going to be perfect, and we changed and grew as the year went on. And we were able to see what works, what doesn't work, and prepare us better for how we want to address this going into next year. Because next year, it's going to change a little too. Next year, we're going to shift our focus a little bit more into having more specific class time for these kids, so these kids aren't going to be missing Mr. Carlin's class to go get help in a tier room. We're trying to focus more, so it's going to impact the kids more. So that's kind of where we ended the year, knowing what our next steps for the future. And that's all I've got.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you. I want to say that I appreciate you being a very strong leader, especially with the month that you've had. I know it's appreciated from the board and from your staff and from students. So I just want to say thank you. You also have a senior, so not only are you busy trying to get everybody to the finish line, you also have your own family needs, but I just wanted to say thank you for all you did during that week. That was rough.
Appreciate that. Thank you. I have noticed having my own senior that it does. Usually, this stuff just flows, but this is the first time I'm like, okay, there's a little bit more.
It hits you a little bit.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And then we do have one more presentation. So this is on a unified communications platform. I think Phil's coming out.
If we could get that thing to move, we'd be all set.
Right.
It's not the best system. It's not.
We got to get used to it.
No, I gotta come up with a better solution. It's too much time and energy and all this stuff
It's all good.
for this to be so complicated. Okay, so let me start here. So we I was charged this year with developing a system for choosing this new unified communication system. And that involved first, I sent out a message to everybody, like the whole district. Said, hey, who's interested in being a part of this committee? And I was scared that I was going to get inundated, but I only got like 20 people that responded. But those 20 people came from several different parts of the district. So by the time we were done creating this committee in the fall, we had administrators, administrative assistants, we had teachers, parents, all of and a coach, like after school person, all of the different stakeholders that you would think would have a say in this. They all came together and they all worked on creating this master list that we called our needs, wants, and nice to have. This was fun. So we did a big survey of the group, and we came up and really, this had a potential to become a huge gripe fest, and I'm really glad that it didn't. It was really important that we stuck to what we were going for here. So we do have very distinct definitions of what a need is, right? A need is, in our case, the product has to have it. If it does not have it, we're not going to consider that product. The wants are those things that would be like, yes, I really, really want this feature. And then we went one step further and said, okay, what are the priorities of those wants? And we had a virtual meeting where the group all got together and we looked at those wants and we said, okay, what's the number one? And then we worked our way down. Which one's number 2, number 3, and so on. And that was extremely helpful because by the time you get down to the bottom of the wants, there are some things in here that, yeah, we really want this, but if it was between A and B, I'm going to take the higher ranked one. If it's going to be between 1 and 3, we're going to go for whatever number 1 is. That was hugely successful for this project. Nice to haves are those things that were, if it had this, that'd be great. But if it didn't, and that's okay. And I'm actually really excited about this because one of the things that we had on here, nice to have, is the prettification. People like to be able to prettify things and make them more interesting and engaging. And we see that a lot in our elementary teachers. They want things to be more visually appealing. Is that PC enough? I think. So we do have some options for that, which is pretty cool. We ended up breaking it down into this group of products that we looked at. These items that we were talking about are listed on the left-hand side. And then we went through and looked at the products and what they had and what they didn't have. And then that ultimately that came down after there was over 10, the committee, the group together, there was over 10 hours of product demos that we sat through. It was a very long couple days. But from that, the group voted on what they thought were the best 2 products. So ultimately, it came down to these 2 products and what they had to offer. And what we went through the priority lists and tried to break it down a little bit more as to what we really thought we really wanted. And I'd like to say that it was a simple decision. It was like, oh, this one's cheaper. This is the one we want. There were some really amazing features on the more expensive one that would have definitely have been worth paying for. And I told the group, because the group is such a diverse group of people, like, you need to understand when you see these numbers, right? I mean, it's nothing to spend $20,000 to $30,000 on this product. I mean, that might blow your mind, but I'm like, this is nothing. I'm used to this. So when we are looking at it, we had to make sure that we didn't make cost a factor until the end. So after we looked at all the different products and after we looked at all the different feature sets, we broke it down even further, and that's where this list came from. Really, what we wanted was a product that was simple to use. It needed to be easy for both parents, administrators, and teachers to get into, read messages and post messages. I hate to use the term social media like, but because there's so many people out there that use that horrible stuff. I'm sorry. that's those products, that we wanted it to be a seamless transition for them. And basically I would say most of what we looked at had those kinds of features. What won us over on the products that we picked from was how clean the interfaces were. So that was another thing that you're looking at. Like, yes, there's the Facebook page that has tons of everything going everywhere and it's hugely distracting. Well, we don't really want that. We want something that's more streamlined and kind of focused. And so the decisions were made that way. We wanted things that the communication piece, we wanted to have like feeds or a feed wall or a page that you come up and you can log into, and you have basically one place to go to get all of your information. Not just all of your information from one place, but all of your information from the entire district. So this system unifies all 4 buildings. We're going to call it all 5 buildings because the district offices sit as the separate entity. So there's 5 different places now where information will come together onto a single interface where you have a feed. And that feed lists all of the new things that have been posted by each of those individual places. It also will integrate seamlessly with all of our building Google calendars. So no one has to change how they're doing anything as far as events go. As long as they're still posting things to their Google calendars, like they're supposed to be, that will all pull over automatically and instantly into this new system. So when parents pull up this new interface and they go to the events, they can see the Google Calendar integrated neatly into the system there. And they have the option to subscribe to the calendar and see the events. And some additional features that are really cool is you can RSVP into events. You can schedule events and conferences through this platform, and you can ask for volunteers or signups. So, hey, I need Johnny to bring his turn to bring the apple squeezies. It's my son's favorite. So a parent can do that. They can say, hey, yep, I'm going to bring those things. And then that all comes back to the teacher or the event coordinator, whoever that did the whole system. So there's lots of really awesome features that this can do. But the bigger ones and the ones that I really want to draw your attention to are, we'll go through just really quickly. We wanted to make sure that it was branded for the district. There are no ads. That's important. We are paying for this product, so we're not advertising anything else other than us. It allows for mass, group, and individualized communications, so you can post those messages. A teacher can post a classroom message, or a teacher can message a parent, and a parent can message a teacher, all from within this one system. It was really important to us that we keep things simplified by what apps we use. It was not possible for us to only have one app for the whole district. But when we started looking at it carefully, we realized that people go into PowerSchool every so often to check grades. This is the app we want people to live in. This is the one they're going to go to every day. This is the one that's going to notify them when there's new things happening. And in that sense, it's okay to have 2 apps because they do completely different things, and the communications piece and the information updates is the one that we want people to be in most of the time anyway. It's completely free for end users. The product that we chose has 2 versions of the app, one for students and one for parents. It's actually really, really complicated. You have to follow me for just a second, but there's the student version and there's the parent version, okay? They are exactly the same, but they called this one the student version so the students would download it. It's actually brilliant marketing. I love it. So it does allow for that team user communication. The teacher can talk to the student if they needed to do that, whatever. That's all possible with this app. So that's pretty cool. You can limit communication. You can limit comments. You can post things and say, no, I don't want to hear back from you. Just read this. That's pretty awesome. And you can include photos and messaging, rich media, direct links, extra web pages, all that kind of stuff can be done. And the best part about all of this is that all of it is completely and totally archived forever and ever. So if there's something that's gone on and a parent is saying, hey, this happened or did not happen, we can go back easily and we can verify one way or the other. Same as a teacher. If a teacher says, I know that I did this, we can go back through and check it, and that's fine. If for whatever reason there was ever any question or issue of inappropriate communication, we have that. It's all completely and safely documented. So as part of our adoption of this product will also come a mandate that this will be the only product that you are to use for communication between parents, teachers, and students, except for email. Accepting email is always okay. But we won't be utilizing any of those additional third-party products. This is the only one that we'll use for all of those reasons. So pretty amazing product and what it can do and what it offers. I was really happy with the process. It was a very long process, but I was really happy with the process. I didn't vote. I stayed out of it. I did look around in the back end and I did render my opinion on things. It really did come down to these two products. And we are the only district in the county that is currently doing something this big. We're the first, and there wasn't a whole lot of other people to lean on for this information. So I think we did a very thorough job of making sure that we involved everybody, and I think we made a good choice that we can live with long after this happens, knowing that we did what we needed to do. So that being said, I asked Lisa, who is my tech. I love Lisa. I come to her all the time and say, hey, I have this new thing. Would you want to try it out? And she's like, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But she was a real champion for getting this, utilizing this. And we were able to get the company to give us a sandbox. It's a geeky term, meaning we had a place to go and play in that was completely separate and isolated. And she's been in there poking around and sending messages. Michelle did also. Her input is invaluable on the admin side because she sends out all those great communications for the district. So we have a district person, we have a teacher utilizing it all the time, and then I was on the back end as a parent receiving messages too. I was like, this is pretty awesome. So Lisa came. She's going to talk about and even just show you a little bit of the interface, and then I'll hopefully have a couple minutes for some questions if you have any. So I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay. So I log in with Google and it automatically will log me in. And here I have my page and I have posted a post about the band concert that we had last week along with some photos. Michelle was able to do an event where we could RSVP that you can come or you can't come. And the gentleman that, Jeremy, that works with Parent Square had added a lot of other stuff to make it look like it has been up and running for quite some time. Like Phil said, over here we have our Google Calendar, or our calendar with all of our events. You can also get to it from the Explore side. And when you click on the calendar, you can see everything that is in the district that's going on. You can go to the directory. There's a lot of staff members and students in here just so it looks more like what a realistic setup would look like. I can go to the photos in the Explore and only see the photos that were posted. If I want to post something, I can come in and create a new post. And on Friday, my class went to the Warren Dunes, so I can post something. I can attach photos from either Google Drive or my computer. I am going to do some from my computer right now and open those and attach them. And then my parents will be able to see everything as I want them to. And there's my photos. I can add captions. And then I can either, one of the things that I love about this as a teacher is I can schedule it. Like I'll have a thought that, ooh, I need to post this, and it might be at 11 o'clock at night, and I don't want to disrupt my parents at 11 o'clock at night, but I can go in and schedule it to post at 8 o'clock the next morning, but I can have it all set up and it can automatically post when I want it to. And then, oh, I have to pick. I'm going to pick the sandbox group that we were working with. It shows me who I'm sending it to, and I can post them. And now when I go to, I'm getting all kinds of alerts on my watch, and so is Michelle. And so here is our new post. If I wanted to search for a post, like I know if the district is posting a lot of things and Moccasin, and as a teacher I am, I remembered she posted something about a band graduation. I can come up to the search and I can search just for the band posts, and it will show the different posts regarding the band. I can also send messages either to a whole group or to an individual user. If I wanted to send one to Mr. Lynch, I can send him something. So it was just very easy. Parent Square had a lot that I appreciated about it. One of the things that I like with Parent Square is they have a trainer of trainer programs. So ideally one person in each building could be the trainer of trainers, and then if somebody has a question in the building, they can come to us and say, hey, I can't figure this out, what's going on? And I could help them, or Michelle, or whoever is the trainer of trainer. And then they wouldn't have to reach out to Parent Square directly, and it becomes more of ours as opposed to we need to go chat with somebody that isn't right there with us. So that's all I have.
It looked like it loaded super fast.
It does.
I was like, is that the norm?
Yeah. Honestly,
saves
I
you
have
time.
used Class Tag. I'm currently using Blooms right now. And this is the fastest uploading. With Class Tag, it would kind of be delayed. Even with the Blooms, I was having a really hard time getting messages. I rely on them going to my watch so that if a parent messages me right away, I can see, hey, you need to be a bus rider tonight. Blooms was having a very hard time getting me those messages to my watch, and I was missing things. One day a parent came in and was like, hey, I heard it was pajama day. I really hope it was. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was. We had parent-teacher conferences, and he was telling me this, and he's like, I really was hoping it was pajama day. And I'm like, I apologize. I did not see your message until just now because I rely on that so much. And this does, I get a notification from the app, I get one from the text message, and I also get an email all automatically. And Phil has the wonderful job of limiting and choosing all of the background stuff and how we get them. So it seems to be a lot quicker than some of the other apps that I've used in the past.
I would say that we're going to have the opposite problem of not having enough communication to people being bombarded with communication. But this app does allow people to choose how they receive messages, and that's pretty awesome. Like if I only want to receive email, that's fine. If I only want to receive the text messages, that's also fine. If I don't want to install the app, that's not a problem. They'll email it to me that way. It is extremely versatile, and that was one of the big things and our needs to have was that we did not want to have to force people to download the app. We have a lot of people that live in rural areas, and app data services, those things are just not super available. So having them have one more thing that they have to do is a pain, but they can receive the text message. That sometimes that works. So that would be fine. And not having the app doesn't prevent you from experiencing any part of the app as a parent or the experience.
Michelle, she messaged me and said, hey, if you respond on this text, will I get a notification? So we were messaging back and forth through a text, and it was going immediately right back and forth to us through the texting.
Yeah, and that was a huge push for us. It will also, this product will be replacing our school messenger product that we use for mass robocalling and whatever we call it. We won't be doing as much robocalling anymore because that's not as great of a system, but for those people that still need that, they will still get it. This system allows for both a emergency message to go out. So wake up in the morning and it's a snow day, a couple of clicks, and we just let everybody know that it's a snow day. That's great. If we want to schedule announcements to go out like we do currently with School Messenger, we can do that. But what's really awesome about this that we don't get with our current product is the admin dashboard, which involves the analytics of all the messages that we send. So yes, we send out 150 whatevers to whoever's, and 150 of them were read. So no one has any excuse. If you post something, you can see how many people read it. And just for your own benefit, you're like, where are we getting the most views and why are we getting those views? And that information is great for us and how we develop our content. You can also use it for contact verification. And this is the problem where School Messenger, one of the many things that School Messenger really kind of fell down on is when we send out a message and that message bounces back, they don't tell us. We have no idea that happened. We have to go in and run a report, and it's like, you don't know what you don't know. So it's very frustrating. With Parent Square, when we set them up initially, the very first thing that it does is it makes them verify their information. And if their information changes, it makes them verify their information. That notification, if they go in and they say, hey, wait, no, this isn't my actual phone number, it gives them the opportunity to put the correct information in, and then somebody at the central location or the building will be notified saying, hey, this person just said our PowerSchool data is wrong. They're requesting we update it to this, and then we make that change manually. So I like the fact that we make that change manually because then people can't mess up things or go in and make changes without us knowing. But it also gives us the ability to do it. And unfortunately, phone numbers for some people are like candy. They just dispose of them and get a new one. Email addresses are the same way. So this is hugely important for us to maintain constant communication with our parents and our staff even too, like personal information regarding our staff. So those analytics are going to be hugely beneficial to us. I think that was all the major points that I wanted to cover. Does anyone have any questions for either of us? We'll start with Scott.
As a concerned high school parent,
Yes.
am I going to forever miss out on the melodic tones of Mr. Pruitt leaving me robocalls with this new system?
No, you will not.
So we'll still get
The
that?
system has the option to record a voice message or use the robot voice if you really want to do that. If that's what you need. I'm sure
If this comes to a vote, I'm going to say it's conditional on Mr. Pruitt being the robo voice of this new system.
Okay, we'll work on it. Kelly?
I do have a quick comment though. Where I'm currently at Penn, they've used this for the past year, and everybody that I asked about it, it was funny because I would ask administrators, and they would immediately go into parent mode. They're like, "Oh, I don't use it myself that much through the school, but oh my God, as a parent, because they have an elementary student or they have a middle school student, like as a parent, it's been so nice." And they just had a lot of positive reviews, at least from the limited information that I got, but it was always coming back to them as a parent. So
I got feedback from 2 other teachers that use it in their districts that love it. It was very highly recommended. I should mention that feed wall that we were talking about, this is one of the only products. They also make websites.
Yeah,
They make websites. We're not switching.
we're not doing.
But they recognize that. And they're one of the only products out there that have, we're going to call it a widget. They have a widget that we can embed in our website that will post all of those feeds. So when you post something to Parent Square, you don't have to turn around and post it at the district site. You don't have to do it twice.
Yeah.
Do it one time and it shows up in both places. Very awesome. Yes.
So quick question, and I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but since we had the Power School attack or breach,
Yes.
did you look into, I need your knowledge of like a strong verification process? Are information secure? Do you feel like that is do they have a strong,
Do they?
yeah,
These guys?
yeah,
Well, so these guys only facilitate communication. They don't facilitate grades or anything like that. So
just
they're
our information, I
yeah,
guess.
they're
Okay.
so they do. We are pushing the whole Google SSO thing pretty strongly,
Okay.
except for high level access. You have to have a in district. The only way you can log into the system is through your Google SSO.
Okay.
So that's the protection that we have in place for that.
And that makes sense.
Yes.
That's why I was like, I knew you probably checked in it, but
Yeah, I did ask about parent access and parent levels, and they don't have any. They don't have MFA just yet. That's a conscious decision because there's people struggle with it.
Tech support.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing. But our end is would be protected. Yeah, teacher
Just
and
checking.
teacher and admin access. Yes.
Okay, good. That's great.
I'm just wondering about, I know we have a lot of apps or things that teachers are using now. You know, Mrs. Gregory mentioned Class Tag. I know my kiddos we've used Band app with the band. I know there's Remind. So have we talked to staff? Obviously, you had a great focus group or a great committee that worked on this. But I'm just wondering about, as you take those things away, have we talked to the faculty to see how they're gonna feel about giving away some of
For
those
3
things that they
years.
love?
Yeah.
For 3 years, we've been saying
Okay.
this is going to change.
Mhm.
It has to change. In fact, the leadership has been very aware of it for the last 3 years. They've been listening to me gripe about it. There's a lot of reasons why this has to happen. And I feel like selling it the way that I mentioned it now is what the safety, the security, the ease of use. I don't think it'll be a hard switch. And I'm positive when people start using it, it won't be a hard sell. The tricky part will be the initial setup for those individuals. Like teachers, there's nothing they have to do. That all comes over from Power School. Coaches is a little different. They'll have to build their rosters because we don't have a way to do that in Power School or anywhere else for that matter. But once those things are established, it's very, very simple to maintain. And again, because everybody's using the same thing, if I'm in three different sports, I only use the same app to talk to the 3 different coaches plus my teachers. So, I mean, what's not to love?
Right.
It works really, really well.
We've had for probably the last, I would say, 8 years, parents have really been pushing some type of a universal app when they have multiple kids in
Yes.
the district, and I'm very happy it's district wide. So
Yeah, and I've heard those
Only got
complaints. And that was a big part of where that needs list came from. I'm very happy to say that everything that we needed, like without the app communication, supports SMS, does the email, does the reporting piece, all of it. Every box is checked on all of the things that we need it to do. And then there's just a bunch of other great things about it. So universally, I feel like we will bring in everyone and with all of the different complaints and concerns that people have had over the years with the way that the district communication is happening. On a side note, professional note, we also have a lot of administrative level controls that we can implement. So we will be doing like our newsletters and things. Those can be template based and branded. So now not only will the app be the same for everybody, but a lot of our primary communication will look similar. Like they're going to not just come from the same place, but they're going to look like they come from the same place. And that will help too with the continuity and what we're doing.
Well, being part of the conversation, was it public relations conversation a month ago, 6 weeks ago, when you first sort of laid this out to us, just wanted to say, we commend you guys on the thoroughness in which you went through all of this and receiving feedback as much as you did and testing all of these out. And I'm sure that was, as you mentioned, a very lengthy process. So thank you for doing all that.
It was very important to me.
Mhm.
This
appreciate
has
that.
been a huge problem for us, and this is gonna make a big difference.
My last thing, 'cause I know we gotta go. So the one thing I wanted to say, a recent training that I've been to was the BTAM, so behavioral threat. And they're starting to talk about information systems and how they coordinate with the safety and messaging. Because they don't want you using like the social media platforms because it causes the swatting incidents and different things. So, but it is new, like you just said, it's really hard to find somebody. There was 2 IT people in a class of about 150. So,
Yeah.
and they're just starting. So.
Well, so you mentioned that when we had our meeting with the Crisis Go and whatever,
Yep.
we made the decision that we're not going to use those systems for mass communications. We're going to stick with the product that we're investing in because we don't want people getting messages from multiple places.
Mhm.
It needs to come from one place. And knowing that it came from that one place means, yeah, it's legit. We know this, it's true. We're going to take it very seriously. Okay. All right. So before we go, my last thing, I put it in the documents, but I just want to say publicly thank you to everybody that helped me with this. It was a huge ordeal and everybody put a lot of time into it. And I definitely appreciate all the conversations and all the demoing and all the emails back and forth. So
Thank you to Phil for all of his back end work of getting all of this put together for us, arranging all of the PD that we went to the one day.
we're not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Yay, Phil. I'm
Thank you.
excited to delete the extra.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Gregory, too, for helping, and Michelle.
Yes. All right, moving right along. Information, reports, and new business. So we are on I. Facilities and Finance Committee. That was on April 30th. Jake, do you want to do this?
So we met on the 30th, and at that time we dug a little bit deeper into the assessment audit from that was done maybe, I don't know, it was about a year ago that it started, but it finished in February, and we got a part of the report, and then we went in depth with the other portion of the report where we went through the matrix, looked at what each area kind of listed as top priority of the assessment pieces. We left there with a couple of things that that we as a team need to look at. We need to look at making sure what is really happening is aligned to the report. And then also, I know Mark and I have some time set aside tomorrow where we're going to go back through the report and set some priorities also for the district. The committee has asked us to bring back information to them of where we've set our priorities. In addition to that, we talked about a master plan. I know a master plan was talked about there, and we are going to work with the company in seeing how we can get that started and going. I think we met for probably about 2 hours during that meeting, lots of rich conversation, and we'll bring information back to the team so that we can kind of set priorities, and the team could help us approve those priorities, and then we can bring them back to the full board.
Yep. Really good discussion. Anything to add to that? I know Chris isn't here. I think it was Jake. April 30th seems so long ago.
I know.
It really wasn't. All right. Next we have Human Resources Committee on May 5th. And I can do that one, Jenny.
Thank you.
Kelly, you
Yep.
were, yep, we were all.
We were all there. Yep.
Yep.
All there.
So Kelly, myself, Jenny, Trish, and Carrie attended that one. We went over kind of our regular agenda of resignations, retirements, transfers, new hires, and then open positions. And we probably spent a lot of our time talking about open positions and share kind of what's posted or what was posted at the time of our meeting for the 25-26 year. So it's nice that we're getting a jump on some of these things. So there was a 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and 5th grade teacher position posted, the ECSE teacher, special education director, and this is a new full-time position, the assistant principal and CTE position, and then also additional special education teachers for Ottawa, Moccasin, and a special education para for Ottawa. We talked about, Carrie shared something that she's working on based on a new rule for ORS. That is a salary schedule, so it's still in a draft format, but we got a preview of some of that, and then also an update on the conference that several employees had attended, the MSBO conference.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Next, the Curriculum and Programming Committee on May 5th. It was a busy day of meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we met on May 5th. Casey Macbeth, Tori Thomas, Kelly Smith, Trish, Mark. Am I missing anybody?
Yourself.
Myself, yes.
And
I
Kelly.
did
Kelly.
to that one.
And I was there for
Jenny,
part of it.
And Jenny did.
Yep,
too.
Jenny did too.
So Mark talked about CTE courses, new programs, cybersecurity, education, electrical. Casey, yeah. So we had updates from the instructional coaches. Casey talked, and Tori spoke about updates in certain programs. We had a presentation about the Numbers Corner, and update on Wonders and some of the testing used in pre-high school, including Dibbles and some other reading assessments. Tori talked about science curriculum a little bit in terms of updating some lab materials and how helpful that has been, etc. What else am I missing, Trish? Kelly?
The U
Jen?
Fly from the elementary, the tutoring program they're adding.
But they're going
That
to
was
a
with
training.
Casey. Yep, they're
Mhm.
going to a
Training in
and we're gonna
August.
add that.
Mhm.
Trying to think. I think that was about it. Kelly talked about the reading corner and stuff.
Yeah, and Mark gave us an
And
update.
Mark gave us an update on our test
Assessments.
scores and stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yep. Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, he did.
All right, great. Next, public comments. I haven't seen any cards. I don't think there's any comments from anyone here, so we will jump ahead to the adoption of the consent agenda.
There was the superintendent and
Oh, I
conversation.
skipped right over one, sorry.
That's okay. I had
Sharing
That's okay.
conversation.
I had one visitor during that time, and I was excited about sharing the updates around our curriculum, around our facilities assessment, talked about budgeting for next year, and then just where we are this year as well. So that was our last one for the year, and we will have those scheduled again next year.
Now, I still don't think there's any public comment cards, so
Mm-mm.
the adoption of the consent agenda.
I move the Board of Education approves consent agenda for the regular meeting of May 19th, 2025. Be adopted as written. And of course, there were minutes for the regular meeting of April 21st, 2025, as well as, two of them, and the closed session. Warrants, Treasury's expenditure reports for April 2025, extracurricular contract for Jennifer Fierro. Recommendations to hire Robert Morphew as a substitute bus driver, and a coaching recommendation for 2025-2026 for Gage Hutchinson for 7th and 8th grade football assistant coach. Then you have resignations, Caitlin Bach, paraprofessional, and then Aubrey Hall, paraprofessional as well.
I was like, wait, we're missing something. Thanks.
Questions, thoughts, comments? Okay, roll call.
Miss Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Miss Berry.
Yes. All right, moving on to the action. I think this is the best part of the whole year. So, first one is our high school 2025 graduation certification.
I move that upon satisfactory completion of district requirements for high school graduation, the Board of Education hereby approves the graduates as listed on the attached roster to be certified for graduation, and further authorizes the administration to prepare diplomas to be presented at the 2025 commencement ceremony. Support.
Do we need to read that certification part up top? Okay, just checking. Who supported Mr. Brown?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just checking.
All right, questions, comments? Go ahead to the roll call.
Miss Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Miss Berry.
Yes.
Yay.
And next we have the BVA graduation certification.
I make a motion that upon satisfactory completion of district requirements for high school graduation, the Board of Education hereby approves Buchanan Virtual Academy students Michael Williams, Stacy Ungerecht, Anjane Jordan, and Alan Raybuck.
Support. Congratulations.
Roll
Yeah.
call. Yeah, congratulations.
Miss Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Miss Berry.
Yes. Next, we have an update to the authorized banking users.
Move that the board, the Buchanan Community Schools Boards of Education approves the following individual to be an authorized user on the Buchanan Association Administration and Media Assistance United Federal Credit Union financial account number 465 and number 5100. Trinity Young.
Support.
Any questions, comments? All right, roll call.
Miss Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Miss Berry.
Yes. Have too many things open, I'm sorry. Next, we have the Berrien Risa biannual election.
I make a motion the Buchanan Board of Education adopts the following resolution. Whereas the biennial election of the Board of Berrien Regional Education Service Agency will be held on Monday, June 2nd at a meeting of representatives from constituent school boards. Whereas Section 380.6142 of the revised school code requires a constituent school board to designate its representative and identify the intermediate school board candidate the board supports for each position to be filled on the board by the resolution adopted not earlier than 21 days prior to the date of the election. And whereas Section 380.614 subsection 2 prescribes the method for passage of a resolution, including the requirement of considering the resolution at not less than one public meeting before adopting the resolution. And whereas the board previously considered the resolution at an open meeting conducted in a manner prescribed under the Open Meetings Act on May 19, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the board designates Katie Berry as its representative to serve on the 2025 electoral body responsible for electing members to the Berrien Regional Educational Service Agency Board of Education, and Chris Carlson as the alternate representative in the event the designated representative is unable to attend. The board supports candidate Daniel J. Buckenmeyer for a position on the Berrien Regional Education Service Agency Board of Education for a term of 6 years. The Board of Education supports candidate Ann Nancy Morissette Kiernan for a position on the Berrien Regional Educational Service Agency Board of Education for a term of 6 years. The board directs its representative, Katie Berry, or alternate Chris Carlson, to vote for candidate Daniel J. Buckenmeyer and Ann Nancy Morissette Kiernan
at least on the first ballot taken at the June 6, 2025 election for the term of 6 years. The Board of Education authorizes and directs its secretary to file this resolution with the Secretary of the Berrien Regional Educational Service Agency Board prior to June 2nd, 2025.
Support.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Any questions, comments? All right, roll call.
Ms. Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Les, yes, Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Ms. Berry.
Yes. All right, next we have the RFP for the high school fence project.
I move that the Board of Education approves the recommendation to accept the bid from Custom Fence Company in the amount of $142,307.94 for the Buchanan High School fence project.
Support.
Any questions, comments? Anything to share on that?
Brian talked about it at one
Yeah.
meeting, but yeah.
Yeah,
just
this
the-
was part of the safety project, and this will be funded through some of the safety funds of 31 AA. And then just as our director of operations noted, Mark, that this company is also local and has been doing work for Buchanan already. So
Great. Go ahead with roll call.
Ms. Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Les, yes, Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Ms. Berry.
Yes. Next we have our appointment to the Buchanan District Library Board.
I make a motion, the Buchanan Board of Education appoints Karen Quasney as a Buchanan Library Board representative to serve on the Buchanan District Library Board of Trustees.
Support. Questions, comments? Go ahead with the roll call.
Ms. Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Les, yes, Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Ms. Berry.
Yes. Next, we have the public hearing date, establishing that for the 2025-2026 budget.
I move that the Board of Education adopts the following resolution, whereas the Uniform Budget Act requires the 2025-2026 budget be adopted prior to July 1st, 2025. Therefore, be it resolved that the public hearing for the 2025-2026 budget will be held during the regular board meeting on June 16, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the Buchanan Middle School Bistro.
Support.
Any questions, comments? And can you just share, Trish? I know we've talked about this. We have 2 meetings in June, and part of the dates are driven based on the needs of when this is done. And
yes, yeah, part of it is based on when it's done. Some of it, the first one is due to the collection of taxes, and then the second one is our budget. So yes.
all right, go ahead with roll call.
Ms. Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Les, yes, Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Ms. Berry.
Yes. And last but not least, we have a 2024-25 MHSAA Athletic State Qualifying Teams overnight student trips proactive resolution, right?
I make a motion the Buchanan Board of Education approves upcoming overnight student trips for MHSAA tournament qualifying teams for the 2024-2025 school year in accordance with board policy number 5506.
Support.
Any questions or comments?
No, and you guys may have noticed we do have our tennis team did qualify for state, and then we also have a number of students from our track team that qualify for state as well.
And it's helpful to not have to have a special meeting like we
Correct.
had to a
Correct.
few years ago when one of these came up. So.
Yep, and we have a plan next year. We'll submit one for the full year in September August or September.
Great. Okay, roll call.
Ms. Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Lesh, yes, Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Dr. Burnett,
Yes.
and Ms. Berry.
Yes. All right, on to any questions, comments from the board members?
It was wonderful. I know that Mr. Pruitt mentioned it under his convocation last night, but it was really amazing to see the great things that our students are doing, the great places they're going. I think there were 4, I think there's actually 5 students that are going into military service that we were able to recognize at that event. So there's a lot of great things that our graduates are doing, and I'm really proud of all of them.
I'm excited for the Scarecrow field trip tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. My first Scarecrow field trip. I'm also super thankful for our staff here and what they do. There was a meeting earlier today, and we don't really have many vacancies. And I made the joke that life is better here, and I'm starting to believe it.
Congratulations to all the graduates. Graduation is Thursday, so I'm excited to go to that.
Praying for good weather.
Yes,
Mhm.
at 7, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's like, there's your reminder.
Yeah, and a good forecast at 9 a.m. when Brian said he was making the call.
Yes.
Whether or not it's inside or outside. Good. Phil, thank you for testing the new cameras, so we didn't have to have a camera right in our face tonight on our laptops. So appreciate you trying to find a different solution. I was in the meeting with Jake today, kicking off some of the strategic planning, so that's very exciting to get that moving. And thank you to all of the foundation and community members that were there. And I know that there were other sessions before that, so I'm excited for that to kick off. Thank you to especially the high school staff, a couple of tough weeks. And it's really neat to see how the school and community pull together during that time. So thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations to the graduates. One of my favorite nights is sitting a different perspective, looking at the crowd during graduation. So. All right, if that's all, our next meeting is June 9th at 6 p.m. and we are adjourned. Thank you.